He had no face. If he spoke a single word about who he truly was, the penalty was instant, merciless death. In the dark, unforgiving heart of the French Bastille, he lived as a living shadow, his features forever hidden behind a mask, a shroud of anonymity imposed by the most powerful monarch in Europe. But why? What secret could be so profoundly dangerous, so destabilizing, that an entire empire, built on divine right and absolute power, spent decades and millions of gold pieces to keep it buried in utter, suffocating silence? Today, we aren't just looking for a name lost to the annals of time. We are dissecting an historical enigma, a chilling tale of power, paranoia, and the ultimate psychological torture, a life spent behind iron and velvet, stripped of identity, voice, and perhaps, even sanity. We ask, who was the man in the iron mask, and why was King Louis XIV so utterly terrified of him? Join us, as Time Tactics delves into one of history's most impenetrable mysteries. Ned even hardened local officials. The orders for this unprecedented apprehension came not from the local magistrate, but directly from the very pinnacle of French power, from the Marquis de Louvois, the Sun King's fiercely ambitious and ruthlessly efficient personal secretary of war. His directive was clear, stark, and chillingly absolute. The prisoner, whoever he might be, was not to be recorded in any public ledger. He was to have no identity. He was to be a non-person, existing only in the shadowed confines of state security. This spectral figure was then handed over to a man named Benigne d'Auvergne de Saint-Mars, a cold, ambitious, and utterly devoted jailer, whose entire career, and indeed, his very fortune, would become inextricably linked to this one singular captive. From that moment forward, for all intents and purposes, the prisoner was known only by the designation Moustache Dogger, a name deliberately generic, meticulously chosen to provide no true clue to his real identity. Saint-Mars, an unyielding man known for his strict adherence to royal decree, was given an explicit, detailed set of instructions regarding Eustache Dogger. These weren't mere suggestions, they were a protocol designed to achieve total, psychological eradication. Dogger was to be fed once a day, with minimal human contact. His cell, deep within the fortress of Pignerol, was meticulously chosen for its absolute isolation. It featured multiple doors, thick walls, and sound-dampening construction, all engineered to ensure that not a single sound, not a whisper, not a plea, could ever reach the outside world. But the most chilling directive of all came next. If he attempted to speak to anyone at all, other than his designated jailer, Saint-Mars himself, about anything beyond his most basic, immediate needs, he was to be killed on the spot. No questions, no trial, no mercy. Think about the profound psychological weight of such a decree. Imagine yourself in that stone box. You see one face, hear one set of footsteps, taste one bland meal a day. And you know, with absolute certainty, that one wrong word, one slip of the tongue, one desperate cry for help, means your immediate, brutal execution. Your very existence is contingent upon your absolute, enforced silence. Let's stop for a second. Consider your life right now. The constant symphony of voices you hear, the myriad faces you see every day, the simple, fundamental ability to look in a mirror and see your own reflection, to acknowledge your own identity. Now, imagine that for the next 12,000 days, almost 33 years, you are forbidden from showing your face to another human being. You are forced to wear a mask of black velvet, or something even more terrifying, every single time anyone, enters your room. Modern scientists and psychologists know that extreme sensory and social isolation like this doesn't just lead to despair, it literally begins to rot the brain. The neural pathways designed for human connection atrophy. Identity becomes fluid, then fractures. If you were Eustache Dogger, after 10 years of this suffocating silence, of this absolute psychological void, would you still remember your own name? Or would you, in the most profound and tragic sense, become the mask itself, your true self obliterated? Tell me in the comments below. What is the maximum amount of time you honestly believe you could survive in total isolation, with your face and voice erased? Popular history, fueled by the evocative narratives of literary giants like Voltaire and later, Alexander Dumas, has immortalized this prisoner as the man in the iron mask. But historical records, meticulously scrutinized by scholars for centuries, suggest a slightly different, though no less chilling, reality. Contemporary accounts indicate the mask was most likely constructed of black velvet, perhaps reinforced with bands of bone or leather. So why the transformation in popular consciousness from velvet to iron? The answer lies in the potent psychology of myth-making. Velvet is soft, human, even luxurious, a cruel but understandable constraint. Iron, however, is brutal, unyielding, monstrous. The myth grew because the reality was, in a perverse way, too quiet, too mundane for public consumption. The collective imagination couldn't easily grasp a man who was simply silenced by cloth. They needed a man who was forged, monstrously, into a secret, physically embodied by an impenetrable, terrifying metal. But whether it was velvet or iron, the underlying effect was precisely the same: the total, absolute erasure of identity, the transformation of a human being into a symbol of state power. The most famous, and certainly the most dramatic, theory regarding the man in the Iron Mask was popularized by the aforementioned Alexander Dumas in his epic novel, The Vicomte de Bragelonne. Dumas posited that the prisoner was none other than the twin brother of King Louis XIV himself. Born minutes apart, one brother was raised in the full light of royalty, destined for the throne, while the other was secreted away, a catastrophic threat to the established order. Imagine the profound hormonal reality of such a betrayal. Your own blood, your genetic mirror, your twin brother, consigning you to a lifetime of imprisonment, a living death, all to protect his crown, his divine right, his absolute power. This theory, while fantastical, taps into deep human fears of usurpation and betrayal. If Louis XIV truly had a twin, an exact replica whose very existence undermined the unique, God-given legitimacy of the Sun King, then his immediate, absolute suppression would have been a perceived necessity for the stability of France. Is it possible that the Sun King, the most powerful monarch of his age, built his entire magnificent legacy, his enduring myth, on the stolen life, the utter annihilation, of his own brother? It's a question that chills the blood. Here is a question of pure, unadulterated power, a dilemma that has haunted leaders throughout history. If you were king of France, wielding absolute authority, and you discovered a secret, perhaps an illegitimate brother, a twin, or an heir whose very existence could plunge your kingdom into a devastating civil war, tearing apart everything you and your ancestors had built, what would you do? Would you possess the moral strength, the ultimate ethical fortitude, to let them live freely, potentially risking the lives of millions? Or would you bury them in a mask, condemn them to perpetual silence and imprisonment, sacrificing one innocent soul to save millions from a brutal, chaotic conflict? It's the ultimate trolley problem of history, played out on the grandest, most merciless stage. Tell me, without judgment, in the comments below, is the safety and stability of an entire nation worth the soul, the identity, the very life of one innocent man? I'll be reading your ethical choices, and your justifications, with great interest. While the romantic twin theory enthralls the imagination, most modern historians, armed with painstaking archival research, point to a more grounded, yet equally chilling reality: the valet theory. This theory posits that Eustache Dogger was not a prince, but likely a man of much lower standing, perhaps a valet or a steward, who worked for a powerful figure embroiled in a massive political or financial scandal. The era of Louis XIV was rife with intrigue, corruption, and the ruthless jockeying for power among the aristocracy. One prominent name often associated with this theory is Nicolas Fouquet, the superintendent of finances, whose lavish lifestyle and questionable dealings eventually led to his spectacular downfall and lifetime imprisonment. Dogger, in this scenario, was an unfortunate witness. He knew too much. He possessed information, perhaps about state secrets, treasonous plots, or financial improprieties, that could have utterly devastated the reputations of powerful individuals, or even, by extension, the authority of the crown itself. In the cold, calculating eyes of Louis XIV, Dogger wasn't a potential rival to the throne, he was far more dangerous. He was a witness. And in an absolute monarchy, where reputation was everything and dissent was crushed, a witness with damning knowledge was often considered more perilous, more capable of undermining the state, than an assassin. He wasn't imprisoned for what he did, but for what he held in his mind, for the dangerous truths that threatened to spill forth. For an unimaginable 34 years, the unyielding jailer Saint Mars, acting as the living embodiment of the king's will, dragged his enigmatic prisoner across the length and breadth of France. Their journey was a relentless, silent pilgrimage of secrecy. It began in the remote, impregnable alpine fortress of Pignerol, nestled high in the mountains, a place designed for maximum isolation. From there, Dogger was transferred to the even more austere stronghold of Exilles, a desolate, windswept citadel. Later, he was moved to the sun-drenched, yet equally inescapable, island prison of Sainte Marguerite, off the coast of Cannes, where the Mediterranean seemed to mock his confinement. And finally, in the year 1698, this decades-long odyssey culminated with his arrival at the most feared, most infamous prison in all of France, the Bastille in Paris. Each transfer was meticulously planned and executed under the cover of absolute secrecy. Every time they moved, the prisoner's mask was strictly enforced, a constant, physical reminder of his erased identity. He was a high-value asset, a living, breathing secret that St. Mars guarded with a devotion bordering on obsession. For the prisoner's continued imprisonment was St. Mars' own guarantee of continued royal favor and personal advancement. Let's delve for a moment into the fascinating, and deeply disturbing, psychology of the jailer himself. St. Mars' entire career, his wealth, his prestige, his very purpose, was meticulously built upon this one singular prisoner. He wasn't merely Dogger's captor, he was, in a twisted, symbiotic way, Dogger's only connection to the world, his sole point of contact with humanity. If Dogger died, if his secret was somehow compromised or released, St. Mars would become irrelevant, his life's work extinguished, his reward gone. Think about the profound implications of this, almost a Stockholm syndrome in reverse. If your entire life's purpose, your singular obsession, was to keep another human being in an isolated cage, who then is truly the prisoner? Is it the man behind the mask, confined by stone and steel, or is it the jailer, confined by the secret, chained to his charge, his entire existence dependent on the perpetuation of another's misery? Comment with the word prisoner if you believe St. Mars was, in his own unique and tragic way, just as trapped, just as much a captive of the king's secret, as Eustache Dogger himself. In November of 1703, after 34 years of an enforced, brutal silence, the man in the mask finally found his ultimate freedom, not through escape or revelation, but through death. He died within the formidable walls of the Bastille, taking all his profound, dangerous secrets with him to the grave. His death, like his life, was shrouded in deception. He was buried under the deliberately misleading name of Marshally, a final, cruel layer of obfuscation designed to prevent any future inquiry. But the obliteration of his existence did not end with his burial. The king's orders for the aftermath of his death were even more chillingly thorough than those for his life. His clothes were immediately burned to ash. His cell walls were meticulously scraped down and whitewashed, removing any scratch, any mark, any trace of his long occupancy. All his meager furniture was systematically destroyed. Louis XIV wanted every single trace, every ephemeral whisper, every physical remnant of this man's existence utterly wiped from the face of the earth, as if he had never drawn breath. Eustache Dogger, or whoever he truly was, proved a chilling, undeniable truth: the most dangerous thing in history, in the volatile landscape of power and politics, isn't always an army, a rebellion, or even an assassin. Sometimes, it is simply a memory, a truth whispered in the wrong ear, a face too familiar. His long, agonizing life was a 34-year sacrifice, offered upon the altar of political stability, a brutal testament to the lengths an absolute monarch would go to preserve his power. We've seen your choices in the mid-video comments, your ethical dilemmas, your questions of survival. But here is my final thought: in this age of pervasive digital surveillance and enforced public faces, where every interaction, every thought, is potentially recorded and broadcast, is there a part of you that, paradoxically, wishes for the absolute, impenetrable privacy, the ultimate anonymity, of a mask? Or is the piercing, often painful light of truth always, unequivocally, worth any risk? Drop a like if you respect the enduring mystery, and let's continue to debate the identity and tragic fate of the man in the iron mask in the comments below.